We've heard a lot recently about PFAS, the water repellent chemical that were used in a variety of products dating back to the 1940s. Well, they're being phased out after evidence showed exposure can lead to health problems. But in one Maine town, dangerously high levels were being found in dozens of wells. Joy Hollowell joins us now with part one of her special report.
Since August, at least 52 private wells tested in Fairfield show sky-high levels of PFAS. The forever chemicals, as they're called, because they don't break down, are also showing up in food. Now, residents are demanding answers as well as changes.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm walking dead.
Penny Harkins is among dozens of Fairfield residents reeling from the discovery of alarming levels of PFAS in their well water.
I have been cooked, contaminated for over 40 years, along with a lot of these people here.
The issue first came to light in July when the Maine Department of Agriculture tested retail milk from a local dairy farm. Unusually high levels of PFAS prompted the Department of Environmental Protection to check other fields and then nearby wells, including that of Lawrence and Penny Higgins. The maximum safety limit is 70 parts per trillion.
And we ended up with over 1,800 parts per trillion.
Their neighbors also tested high.
So that got us to wondering, well, if we're high and he's high, how many others are high?
Turns out, a lot.
7,000 level.
Our numbers are in the tens of thousands.
Troy Rainey and Ashley Goldrup just purchased this home last January.
It's like we bought our dream home, and, you know, in the past few months, it's turned into a nightmare.
In fact, their entire road has among the highest levels of contamination in Fairfield.
It was 18,000. Yes.
Susan Otis lives a few doors down. She recalls watching human waste being spread on farm fields behind their home some 35 years ago. That sludge is identified as the source of the PFAS.
Now, value of our home is nothing. Our land is nothing. And we put pride in our home.
Otis and the others were instructed not to drink or bathe in the water. Every Friday, the town of Fairfield provides bottled water.
And this is supposed to take all the PFAS out.
The state is installing filtration systems at affected homes, but there's concern these chemicals are also in the soil. The Higgins recently had their chicken eggs tested.
And they come back with, not surprisingly, the PF. We've been feeding our animals this water. What are we doing to them? What have we done to our children? I mean, what have we done to us?
Residents started a Facebook page called Fairfield Water Concerned Citizens. They're now pushing for the state to require PFAS testing in every Maine well.
Every person that has a drilled well has their water tested right now. And they're told it's safe to drink. That's a lie.
There is evidence high levels of PFAS can lead to cancer and other health issues, as well as a decrease in how well the body responds to vaccines. Links to resources regarding PFAS in Maine can be found on the web version of this special report.
And Fairfield's water crisis caught the attention of Aaron Brockovich. Coming up at 6, we're going to hear from the nationally recognized activist along with Fairfield's town manager and the Maine DEP.
The Environmental Protection Agency limits PFAS chemicals in drinking water to 70 parts per trillion, but at least 52 private wells in the town of Fairfield have levels up to 460 times higher. Joy Hollowell joins us now with part 2 of her special report.
The state of Maine is installing water filtration systems as they discover more and more affected wells, and each Friday the town of Fairfield hands out bottled water. But residents with toxic wells want more action taken, and they've enlisted the help of a very famous and very vocal activist.
Your state is now in serious trouble.
Famed clean water activist Erin Brockovich and her partner Bob Bocock have serious concerns about the levels of PFAS being found in Fairfield.
It's certainly one of the higher levels that we found, which is why it's getting the attention that it's getting.
In addition to drinking water, the state is investigating other potential impacts, including livestock and private gardens.
Any concern that's raised to us, we try to be responsive to.
But those in Fairfield fear the damage is already done. Back in 2001, the state investigated reports of brain cancer clusters in Fairfield and whether it was environmental. They concluded while the rate of brain cancer among young adults was significantly high, they could not support or rule out any factor as a cause.
It's a high enough of concern that our priority is towards the expansion of public drinking water that really is the only solution that has presented itself at this point in time.
Fairfield's town manager says there's little the municipality can do to help affected residents directly.
To help an individual with their private well is something that the law doesn't allow us to do necessarily with taxpayer dollars.
According to the DEP, the PFAS comes from sludge spread on farm fields for decades.
You better be taking a look at the polluters in your state and going to them for cleanup costs.
But just who is responsible?
The biosolids were spread on those fields from sometime around the late 1970s, maybe 1980, through 2003 from the Kennebec Sanitary Treatment District facility.
The DEP says it's aware the Hudamaki plant contributes a, quote, significant industrial wastewater component to KSDD. But Fairfield resident Nathan Saunders is suing Sappy Paper Mill for allowing these dangerous chemicals to contaminate his property.
There also was a second material that was spread on some of the fields between 2006 and 2015.
That came from the soil prep facility in Plymouth, according to the DEP.
It's not a matter of blame to me. It's a matter of learning new information about a material that you didn't know about in the past. The companies that produce this material need to be looked at, because they were aware of what was in their products and what the concerns were, but that information had not been shared out with others.
Right now, the state says its priority is identifying the extent of contamination. They're beginning to look at other Central Maine towns and hope to start testing in the next couple of months.
We will get to these sites. It's a matter of resources and timing. We're not going to stop based on the results in Fairfield.
Well, it's difficult for homeowners to test their wells for PFAS. According to the Maine DEP, you can easily contaminate the sample. The Fairfield PFAS investigation is on the DEP and the Town of Fairfield websites. For links to those as well as additional resources, you can look for this special report on our website.